Hey guys, welcome to Wildcatters TV. Today I got my good buddy Chris Flores from Muddy River Catfishing with me.
How you guys doing?
He come in for the Catfish Conference. Chris, how'd you like the conference yesterday?
It was a huge success. Oh yeah, there was probably twice as many people as what was out there last year, you know?
Yeah, it was a great time.
Oh yeah.
One of the things I want to talk to you about today is with this catfishing industry growing like it is, I noticed on Facebook the other day you guys kind of were thrown into some drama that I quite don't agree with. But a lot of these guys, in my area, guys, in the Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky region and the Ohio River, we have a big problem with pay lakes. If you don't know what a pay lake is, it's just a pond that they dig in the middle of a field. Come to this river, grab a bunch of big fish, from trout lines and commercial fishing. The pay lakes will buy them from commercial fishing, and they'll stock pay lakes for guys to come fish for them. Problem with that is they die in those pay lakes, and they have to come back to the river and replenish them. But there's a group of guys out there that I don't think can see beyond the Ohio River. But this country is loaded with catfish all over, and it's just small rivers and such like that. And I know you all were taking a little heat because you fish for catfish alternative ways. You got your Muddy River mud sticks,
right,
and things like that. But I would just want people to know that it's okay to use alternative ways of catching fish, as long as you're still using some good judgment on catch and release or management, should I say.
Right. Yeah, no, I was pretty happy-go-lucky guy fishing in my area, and then I got into the public eye, and then that's where all this politics, I guess, is what you want to, I don't know if that's what the right word is.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, and stuff getting thrown at me, and all I ever wanted to do was just put out videos just to help people learn how to fish,
right,
and share our adventures and stuff like that. And
exactly.
And I don't know, it can get kind of ugly, but you just stay strong and stay positive and point people in the right direction. I know it all kind of started because Peter had mentioned that he was going to see somebody at the conference, and he didn't really know that they were a pay laker, and
right,
next thing you know, it all kind of snowballed, and man, it just got into a big old stink. But
yeah, I heard boycotting the catfish conference are all about the money,
right,
and all that. We got to spend money to have these gatherings and have them. They're not for free, guys, but you get to come and enjoy what we've put together. You could find anything at the Catfish Conference you wanted to yesterday, and everybody was so friendly. It's keep it fun. That's the thing. Another guy that's kind of compared to you is the mud bum guys. They do a lot of alternative fishing as well, and they fish the small rivers up in Iowa, and they don't have the pay lake problems as well. But them guys, they give back to the community like as well as you and I do, and they practice the management as well. Now, like I say, they camp and do all kind of fun stuff while they're out there. They're not just catfishing; they do all kind of stuff. But it's being around like-minded people and just having fun.
right.
So, the drama kind of gets to you sometimes. It gets me down, but I go through it because it really pays off seeing all the people I seen at the Catfish Conference yesterday, signing autographs, taking pictures with the kids. There's so many kids, especially little girls. Right, I've got one right here. The younger girls are even catfishing. This sport is for everybody to enjoy, and we don't need the bullies in there that are traumatizing people that's just wanting to show them the catfish they caught.
It's funny. I was kind of bummed out with a bunch of that stuff that goes on, and a bunch of negativity now that you're in the public eye, and there's just a bunch of bad stuff. But when I did that trip to Dallas, and one guy come up to me and says, Pastor Jesse says to say hi to you and thank you, and he was telling me how he's a pastor at the Victory Outreach, and that he plays my videos for the guys down there, and it really helps them. It's a positive on them, and it helps refocus them from the negative, the negativity, and it kind of just revived me, It's just, man, all this other stuff all of a sudden seems kind of petty.
Right.
It's like, man, I'm doing a bigger good,
Exactly.
and this little bitty stuff, man, just forget about it.
Right.
So, all in all, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And then especially seeing it, like you said, at the conference, and everybody coming over, and they're so appreciative and thankful and happy, and everybody just having a good time, and it's a great thing. And let's just keep it up, and let's help each other. I see posts, and I don't know if it's just me or what. Some guy, he's holding a spinning reel upside down, and everybody's dogging him. Oh man, yeah, don't trust that guy. You know what? Maybe that's all he knows.
Right.
He has the same passion that you and I do. He just doesn't have the experience.
Right.
And he needs someone that, just like someone taught you, just like someone taught me, just like we're teaching her, to help him out.
Right.
Just say, hey, look, it works better this way, or it's kind of made for this, or I don't know if you knew. I don't know.
Right.
Find a way to help your fellow fishermen.
And we need to do it respectfully. Respect your buddies, respect people, and they're going to give you respect back. If you go and dog them, they're going to resist and probably come right back at you too. But like I say, the good outweighs the bad.
Absolutely. I think it's all about the bigger picture. I mean, you can argue about the petty stuff. I mean, it's like arguing about hunting with a rifle or with a bow or whatever.
Right.
But the bottom line is it's all about the species, and we're trying to preserve it for the future, and help educate each other, and we're all in it for the same thing. We enjoy it.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Let's keep it fun, guys. So we see you catching these big old flatheads all the time with those mud sticks and limb lines.
Right.
But you keep very few of them. You just like take pictures and send them back.
And the funny thing about the mud stick and the hook setter is another one of the products that's similar to the mud stick, but they're actually designed to try to capture the fish in the corner of the mouth,
right?
So that they're not getting gut hooked, and that you as a fisherman can make the choice. If you catch this big trophy fish, you can let them go. If you want to just catch a few eaters, then you can keep a couple. But it's designed to catch the fish, so it's not harming the fish.
Right.
Or the least amount, anyways.
Well, in here this is big water. I've been to your neck of the woods, and you fish the Rio Grande, but the section you fish is not much more than a ditch.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And you're pulling huge flatheads up out of there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, most of the country in flathead are as far as catfishing is concerned, is not big rivers like this. It's little small streams and stuff where guys can go and enjoy the resource by, and they can't get out here and do the drift fishing that we're doing or anchoring like this. They may not have but 5-6 foot of water that they're running.
Right.
So, I think are we getting a bite back there? No, we're pulling around. But I just want guys to know that the country is a lot bigger than what you see just right here in my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And, we got the guys in Iowa, the mud bum guys. Those are the greatest bunch of guys I've seen. And what they do, they just go out on a riverbank, and it's nothing like this. It's an Iowa river, and they make them a camp, and they set tents up, and they go out and run these bank poles and stuff. They don't keep and kill all these fish.
Right.
So it's important for me to let folks know that, like I say, we want the whole catfishing industry to be able to get along.
Right. And like you're talking about as far as pay lakes and stuff like that, in New Mexico, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we got this little bitty river, and then the southern half of it's shut off for 9 months out of the year. Mm-hmm. And when I first heard the term pay lake, it was after I got into the YouTube thing, and I seen it somewhere on Facebook or whatnot, and I didn't know what it was. The lakes that we call pay lakes it's a lake that's stocked with fish from game and fish. They're bought from stock ponds, and they're just little eater-sized catfish, and you pay the guy who owns the lake a couple bucks to go fish there, and it's no big deal, and so I didn't understand the whole concept, but now that it's gotten as far as my YouTube channel's grown, I've learned about it, and I know that you guys have a big, serious problem here, you know, and they're taking fish out of the rivers, and so we got into that drama, and they were saying that we support pay lakes and stuff like that, man. I was like, I don't even know how I got thrown into that mess.
Right.
We don't even have that stuff over there.
Well, there is a group of guys in Ohio that are, you know, you got to love their passion for wanting to protect the fish, but they just kind of go overboard with the name calling, and you know, I've seen them just really dog people holding them in the gills. Now, in my opinion, let's don't dog those people. Let's educate them. Hey, it's not the best thing to do to hold them in the gills if you're going to release it. And we want you to release it, but we want you also to be able to keep fish if you want them. I mean, the resource is there. It's not there to abuse, but it's there for you to use. And there's nothing wrong with keeping some catfish to put on the frying pan, or when you're sitting on the riverbank at camp frying up some catfish. You know, I think most everybody in the world pertaining to catfishing probably started off with bank poles and limb lines and things like that. If you haven't, you're missing out on some stuff. I mean, the river I grew up fishing is not much more than wider than what you're used to down there. It's just a little small river. You can throw a rock across, and it's just so much fun to go down there. And you may turn the bend a little bit and see that big limb, that line just bouncing. You know you got to get up there and get that big fish. But like I say, it's not. You don't have to keep the fish, and I want guys to try to educate folks on you know, the catch and release. Like I say, I'm not a full-blown, you know, you gotta release everything. You know, it's not like that.
I think it's, you gotta have that mindset. You know, like when I went to Texas, they were saying 100 hooks is what you're allowed. However you want to do it. So you could have 100 fishing poles along the bank, or you could have a trot line with 100 hooks on it, or you can however you want to work it. But I don't think it's not the issue of how many hooks you have out there. It's the choice you make once you bring that fish in, you know? If you're bringing this big old trophy fish in and you're keeping it, well, you're hurting the, you know, the population in the future. You're harvesting this fish that has the potential to put out more spawn, future trophies. Whereas if you just know, you know, some people don't know that. I mean, when I started out, I didn't know that. You know, I was just a kid. Hey, I caught a fish. Let's take it home and fry it up. You don't know, and that's the big thing, is the education. I don't think most of the people are out there trying to hurt and cause harm. They just probably don't know any better. And once they're taught, hey, look, you know, you want to keep some, that's perfectly fine. But hey, let's put the trophy ones back. And not everybody's out there fishing for sport. You know. A lot of guys out there, they catch and release, and that's great. But some of the guys, they actually trying to feed their family. And as long as they're selective about what they're taking, I think that's the biggest thing right there.
Well, you said education, and I believe education. That's what I've been trying to do for years. But just like your daughter, you're raising your daughter on the riverbank, and you're teaching her, the next generation of catter, to respect the fish. And you know, I'm seeing more and more and more of that. Their parents are taking them out fishing and teaching them, hey, you know, let's do some management with these catfish. And I think, you know, in the next few years, you know, these guys that are causing all this drama about the way you hold your fish or anything like that, they're going to be a thing in the past, because they're not going to have nobody else to gripe about, because we're teaching them now. But it takes a little time for this circle to kind of evolve. Like I say, me and you, when we grew up, we were setting limb lines. We were keeping everything. I mean, I can remember catching 100 fish a night on bank poles and limb lines, and I had to keep them all. Now, they wasn't big fish. They was all, you know, small fish, but I had to keep them all because that was kind of my trophy. But once I got into this industry, I realized quickly that, you know, we need to help protect this industry if we want to continue on.
And talking about the mud stick, I mean, in New Mexico, where I'm from, the mud stick is considered a fishing pole, or, you know, so we're allowed 2 fishing poles, but if you're using mud sticks, then you got to use 2 mud sticks.
That's it?
Yeah. So that's kind of how it works. So, and then not only that, it's not priced to where you're gonna go buy 100 of these things and just hang them on every bush, you know. So that's not what we had in mind when we came up with this idea. And so from my perspective, it's totally different from what you guys are doing out here. I know there's a lot of guys that they'll come out and they'll hang a hook on every tree and all that stuff, but that's not what we're doing.
Right. Well, I think the industry is heading in the right direction too, with everybody educated. You're always going to have them bad apples out there that don't care about it. They're in for the money. I don't think there's nothing we can do about that.
Right.
But, you know, just to let everybody know how I feel and how you feel, we are not in it to keep a bunch of fish. We're not in it to harm the industry whatsoever as far as the fisheries. But, you know, a lot of these guys just need to understand there's a bigger part of this world out there than just our little bit of area right here in the catfishing belt, you know, the Ohio, Mississippi River, these
Right.
bigger rivers like this. That does happen to support the pay lakes through commercial fishing and such.
Right.
Now, we've worked with Kentucky in the last couple of years, and we put some regulations. And this pool right here, the Cannleton pool we're in, happened to have some decent regulations. We didn't get what we wanted, but it was a start. And I think it was three or 4 years ago, but I really think that it has helped because a couple weeks ago in Facebook, they had some tournaments in this area. And there's a lot of guys holding big fish. So what we have done has helped some. So all we need to do is continue to strive for better regulations. Maybe one day we'll get them. But you guys, y'all ain't even got no fishing out there. And you got 2 poles is all they let you fish with?
Yeah, 2 poles. Two
Shoot.
poles maximum. So you get 1 pole, you got to pay $5 for your extra pole. So that's what it is.
Well, and then the different regulations around the country is
Yeah.
crazy too. I think in Ohio you can only have 2 poles too. Kentucky you can have all the poles you want, but I think you're only allowed 50 if you're setting limb lines and things. So
I think the biggest key is to, I think, just be respectful of one another, you know,
Yeah.
and then help educate. I think those are the 2 things. I mean, because I see a lot of posts on Facebook, and, oh, there's no fun in limb lining, and there's no fun in that. I mean, it's up to the individual to decide that, you know?
Exactly.
Because for me, like just like you said, you see that thing going, and man, it's like, to me, it's like Christmas morning, you know?
Yeah.
You don't know what's under there. But if I'm going and I'm grabbing every 40, 50-pound fish and throwing it in the boat and taking it home, then I'm causing harm, you know?
yeah, because when you go back next time, you eventually ain't gonna have no fish.
Right. And that's why so many people ask me all the time, how come you always letting your fish go? I said, man, because they're the stars of my show.
Yeah.
You know, I tell them, without them, what am I going to be, just sitting here in the boat, you know?
Right.
But if I do want to take some home, I'll take a little 5-pounder home. I mean, that's plenty.
Right.
But yeah, there's no sense in taking more than what you need.
Chris, I appreciate you coming down here fishing with me, Dan, and sharing your views on the catfishing industry. I've really enjoyed you coming down for the last couple of years, so we're looking forward to getting back to New Mexico and
Yeah, come on down.
and getting in your ditch again. I know I didn't do so good that one last time, but I think we didn't plan our trip the way we should have.
We got a better plan this time,
Yeah,
that's for
yeah.
sure. All we got to hope for is no wind.
Exactly. No wind. All right, guys, that's about it. Say hi to Chris Flores again, and get a quick shot of Izzy here. See, we're out here on the Ohio River today, doing some catfishing while they're in town. So, but anyway, guys, thanks again for watching. Remember to respect one another and have fun. I'm Steve Douglas with Wildcatter TV, Chris Flores, Muddy River Catfishing. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thanks for having us out, Steve.
All right, man. See you guys.